Hey everyone, it's TV dinner time. Kick back, relax. We're talking about episodes 7 and 8 of Doctor Death. So we'll get into it. Season one,
Yeah, the conclusion to season one. Yes,
yes,
and I guess my first question to you: were you satisfied by the end? Like, we know it's not a big shock
yeah,
that like this guy went to prison because it starts
yeah.
off
This
the
show
season with
at the
it.
first episode.
But were you satisfied? Were you like, okay, this guy got his due?
I was satisfied with him getting his due, but once they start showing the statistics at the end, that is what kind of got me. Like, holy crap! Like, yeah, they
Yeah,
got one, but all these other people. There's no telling how many other doctors are out there doing some wild shit.
but this showed that the whole big thing, the big question about trying to go after this guy was basically setting the precedent that you can go after a doctor for
Mm-hmm.
criminal charges. So they set that, and so I guess like I wonder if some people out there are shaking in their boots.
Gotta be. Well, the fact that they have like 2 seasons of this show, like the next season that doctor probably got locked up also, and hopefully, like I want this show to continue, but I'm also like, hopefully they don't have like 30
Yeah,
seasons like The Simpsons.
that's the scary part where it's
Yeah,
like it ended where it's like, oh, this story is not like the last sentence it said, like this is not a one-off story. I forget what it said,
yeah.
but
There's
this
like an
happens all the
8,000
time.
doc. Yeah, it's like 8,000 doctors.
Yeah,
They
and
had
they
like that
basically answer
statistic,
that
and I was
or
like,
answer
yo,
that statistic where it's like, oh, we have a second season, so it did happen
yeah.
actually.
We have one that's even wilder than this one. You
It
thought
would be
season one was
interesting
good.
if the second season is like following a doctor that technically is still kind of doing its thing. Like that would be extra scary where like it
That would be
ends the story
horrifying.
where it's like
Yeah.
this guy has actually never been convicted. Like they're
Yeah.
trying to or something.
The crazy thing is that's probably gonna like if they continue this show, like yeah, we haven't watched season two yet, so that could be something that occurs, but that honestly could be something that happens in a later season if they continue this show.
I think
Because
that would
there's
make
no
it
way they
extra
can
scary.
catch yeah, there's no way they can catch every single doctor that's doing like things like this.
Yeah, right.
Did you think were you angry with his friend when
Kind
he
of
went
still
on
supporting him.
yeah.
I don't know. I guess it's kind of hard to be angered at him like whether or not like do you see that as like a genuine friend? Like he seems like he's genuine in saying that I'm his friend.
I
But
get
then
that.
you're almost blinded by that somehow.
Yeah. Like I like that he stood by his friend, but it's like, bro, he paralyzed you. He ruined your life, and you're still
Yeah.
sticking by this man. Like that's something I couldn't do.
Yeah, he could have been the nail in the coffin of them like saying like, yeah, we did a
Yeah.
whole bunch of coke and everything. We're doing coke
Mm-hmm.
all the time. But he was willing to kind of hold that back because he's my friend.
Yeah. It's like
And
nah.
I don't know. I it was a stark contrast because I was like the last episode that we recorded at TV dinner. I was going to ask you
Mm-hmm.
like where does unconditional love end? Because you saw that with the dad,
Oh
where
yeah.
the dad is being a dad and says, "I still love you" and all this stuff, but you saw it in this last episode where it's like prison may be the best
The
choice for you
best
right now.
place. Yeah. You shouldn't
Yeah,
be a doctor.
I don't know
So
where it's like,
I think the dad handled it the correct way. Like, hey, I supported you. I didn't really know the ins and outs of what was going on in your practice, but now like all this stuff is coming out. Like I still love you, but I can't support this. I think you need to learn a lesson. Like you've been able to get through all of this without learning a lesson. So now this is
mhm.
your time to learn that lesson.
And it's
And I
not going
think
to be me teaching you that lesson. It's going to
yeah,
be
it's gonna be Green
the
Mile in there.
prison
Like
stuff. Yeah.
yeah, like,
I don't know. That was an interesting thing that kind of came into my head where it's like you saw the struggle of the dad throughout the whole series.
mm-hmm,
Basically, I want to be supportive, and every parent wants to be supportive, but it's like where does that line get drawn? Where
yeah,
we have the example. this is a real life example if that kind of like relationship between the dad is true that was shown in Dr. Death. But also we have another real life example of like Jeffrey Dahmer's dad, where
Oh yeah,
he almost kind of like went to the extreme of like really unconditional love
which
of
was
like,
crazy.
yeah. So it's like, man, it's like, I guess any parent has to ask themselves that, like, where is
How
that line?
far? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
what's my gauge? Do you think where do you think Duntsch's head was at when he was practicing? Because it seemed like he had no remorse, like in both episodes. Actually, it seemed like he had
Mm-hmm.
no remorse for what he had done. Like, do you think he was just like so confident in himself that he was like, "Oh, this was like I just messed up a little bit. That's nothing. Like I'll do better the next time." Or do you think he just didn't understand what he was doing completely and just didn't care that he didn't understand?
I don't know. It's easy to argue that he didn't understand because of his thought process that every single time someone asked him like what happened during the surgery, he was like, it was not during the surgery of what
Oh
happened.
yeah,
The surgery was perfect.
yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, but you're blaming it on like the anesthesiologist or this other
Anesthesiologist.
person. So that
Yeah,
means
the
something did happen
recovery.
during the surgery.
Yeah. Well, and the fact that they found a sponge, like, bro, they found a sponge in this person's body, and he was like, "I didn't leave that.
Yeah.
That
The
wasn't me."
technician did.
Yeah,
I'm not doing.
I would never. Like, dude, what?
I don't know. What do you think? Like, do you think he's all there? Like, I don't know. It's not. There's not a question about his sanity and everything, but like,
Yeah, I think
I
his
don't know.
nose is just too high. Like he was given way too much praise too quickly and he didn't even have any experience under his belt.
Yeah, like he's almost being told that he's a genius, which
Hmm.
some people can say yes and everything. And I like the fact that like someone said if he stuck to research, he would have been exactly what he thought he was.
Mm,
But he decided to try to become a doctor for some reason. And it's like,
yeah,
no, do the research aspect. Don't touch anybody.
no.
Like, just look at a computer or something.
That's the crazy thing too. Is like we wouldn't have this conversation if he just stuck to research.
Yeah.
Like he would probably be rich, like filthy, filthy rich with the research and the startups and the businesses that he created with his ideas. But the fact that he was like, let me dabble a little bit, let me see what I can do with these knives, and just start tearing people up.
And also, and almost because he wanted to, like, somehow place himself higher than his dad, than
Yeah,
his
like
brothers and
bro,
stuff. I guess his family members were also doctors and stuff.
yeah.
I don't know. This guy was crazy.
Hmm. And like that probably messed up the reputation of his family.
Sadly, yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least sucks where it's like that Duntsch last name where you're like, you have to
Like,
think twice.
ooh,
Hey, like I just saw that thing.
I saw that
Now
show.
nowadays I just saw that Dr. Death show and it's like
Uh-huh.
Duntsch.
Are you the same? Well, it's the same with like I don't know if you saw the Murdaugh
Oh yeah.
murders. Yeah, it's a similar situation. Like that family was running that area for I'll say centuries. I don't know how long. And then one mishap just floodgates open of all the nonsense they had been doing.
Yeah, it's that is like a true case of like we thought our power over this whole like little city could have
Yeah, we thought our
hidden
shit didn't
all of
stink.
our skeletons and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you think the defense's thought of like if we blame the training, we can help you? Did you think that was gonna work?
No.
No.
No. Like, because the training can only go so far. I think no. Like it was a decent idea, but I just didn't think it was gonna work
It
because all of the people that were training him could rebuttal that. Like, well, no, X, Y, and Z.
it was definitely a Hail Mary where it's like
Yeah,
the
fingers
defense lawyer
crossed.
was like, we have nothing else.
Hmm. Like,
Like,
bro, you're going to jail. Like, we'll
and
try
if
this.
he would have fired her and then the other lawyer came in and never thought about blaming the training, they would have never actually tried that play.
Yeah,
But I don't know. I kind of had like I was like, dude, like it was a good play by the assistant district attorney to
Hmm.
say we're gonna do elder abuse because they can stack all the charges together and stuff.
Yeah.
But then it was also a good opposite play where like, oh, let's just say he's incompetent. He just sucks at everything that he does, and see if we can just kind of slide him out of here and then go after the other people and stuff in like civil cases. But I was like, man, like that's like a true kind of like, all right, you played your card, I'm gonna play my card now
Hmm.
and see who wins. Um, I don't know. It was pretty interesting.
I enjoyed it. This, like, I can truly say I enjoyed every single episode of the show, unlike Bodies.
But yeah, the only thing I was just thinking about it too before we jumped on the call. I was like, the only thing I was kind of like, it's funny because like it's like very small little thing that they kind of like decided to leave out
Mhm.
is the jury saying that he's guilty. I wanted to see like his face. Like what
Mm.
face did he make up as like, oh, I'm so sad. I'm
No,
actually guilty or like innocent and stuff.
I can
I
see him
like
shrugging his shoulders, like, all right, whatever.
yeah, and I think that would have been poignant to watch, but it ends up just going to where like the in the story or like in the show, it just skips over all that. It comes
Yeah,
to the jury comes to a judgment and but then it just goes to basically he's being processed into his
yeah.
prison, his home for the next what 30 years I think or
30s, yeah,
something,
30 odd years. I think
or
his
to life
parole
basically.
like 2050 or something like that. 2040 something, 2050.
I think so. That was my only disappointment where I was like, I want to see like them saying like, oh, you're guilty on all charges or something, and then he's
Mm,
like, or something. I don't know. I
good.
just be satisfied about.
Yeah. I really couldn't see it phasing him. That's the bad part. Like, it should, like, any normal person would be like, oh my goodness, like, it's my life is over. I can see him being like, all right, I'll be out.
Right, right. The way he thinks of things, he's like, ah, I will peel it. I'll
Yeah.
get out, and then
It's a vacation. Like, take the time off,
yeah, shitty vacation with some
study a little more.
shitty food.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know. Do do you find yourself wanting to watch the second season? It's a new Doctor. We don't know how
Yeah.
well they kind of put that together, but knowing how well that they put the first season together, do you want to watch the second?
I do. My cousin actually was telling me about season two. He had started it and like fell in love with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I am excited to eventually watch season two. This show feels like American Crime Story a lot. Like the
Oh
fact that it's
yeah,
self-contained and it's like yeah, this guy, at least in our eyes, he wasn't a big name, but in some eyes, he might have been well known prior to the show. So
definitely
to
in
kind of
Texas.
follow his story and get an understanding of what he had done, and then okay, what did the next Doctor do? So I'm excited for season two.
Me too. The next Doctor, it does seem like he's more intimidating. Like Duntsch was able to kind of like caress you and stuff and like
Hmm.
lull you into this dream. Like it seems like this guy, the next season, he's like more of like I'm gonna intimidate people and I'm gonna do my job or something, and
Yeah,
like kind of have this like almost cult like understanding of himself. Like I don't know. I guess cult leaders have like that two spectrums where like they either talk you into everything
hmm,
or they're like more like that like subtle violent person where it's like I'm gonna like make sure that you do what I want to do
I'm
and
gonna
stuff.
take you to the back room and lump you up real quick.
Right? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. That's just my thought process
Yeah,
of like watching. I don't know. Peacock showed me like thousands of these freaking like watch season two as I'm watching season one. So, but do you recommend it fully after watching
oh yeah,
the whole season?
oh yeah. I told you like a couple episodes in, I'd already started recommending it to people. So
Right?
after watching the full season, I'm definitely gonna recommend it.
Yeah, it's funny because like Nick and his wife come to mind. I think we said that before. I don't know. Like
Hmm.
Nick and his wife, I think would enjoy this. My mother would definitely enjoy this because she watches like the ID channel and like all like
Oh yeah, so
the
she's
junk.
already invested. Yeah,
Yeah. So, but I think my dad makes fun of her for watching those all else ID stuff, but I think
yeah.
he would enjoy it where he would be
Hmm.
like kind of enthralled by like the how well the show tells its story.
Yeah.
And definitely, I think this is like a definite recommend. If
Hmm.
you're deciding between Doctor Death season 1 or Bodies, watch Doctor Death.
Or if you're just looking for a show to watch and you're into like docuseries, this is a
Yeah,
scripted show, but it still feels like a docuseries.
it's an easy watch too. It's 45
Yeah.
minutes per episode, and it's only 8 episodes, but
And they
it goes
fly
by.
by
Yeah,
too. Yeah.
good characters, good acting too.
Hmm.
There's a lot of there's a funny character, there's a serious character and stuff, and yeah, I definitely will recommend this, and I'm
Oh, I have a
excited.
question before we
Hmm.
end. Do you think the second doctor, assistant doctor, I forgot what the lady's name
Oh,
was,
the one that
but
went to the military.
yeah, she should have brought all of this to light sooner and not have waited and then tried to shy away from like the whole trial, right?
That's the question with like all of them, where it's like they all had technically, even that Kirby guy, they like
Oh
the
yeah,
assistant DA said that like you technically were in an operating room with him.
with him. Hmm.
So there's a question for all of them to rethink their morals and their understanding of their Hippocratic oath, I think. And I
Yeah,
think, yeah, it showed that like they all need to question things. And I think, I don't know, I think that lady is more culpable than the rest of them because she almost kind of like was an accomplice to things,
yeah,
I guess,
because she was
right?
watching multiple surgeries as they played out, so
Yeah,
it felt, and the fact that she was like, I think towards the end of it, she was like, "Oh," went outside and started screaming, and it's like you've seen this happen with him multiple times. Like you can't wait until the 30th to be like, "Oh my goodness, this is ruining my
right.
life." Like
Yeah, that's like your
one
conscience
or
like
two
acting
in,
out. You're like, I need to say something, I guess.
yeah, that should have been one or two, and like, okay, I need to tell somebody about this.
But then she goes to the military and does some more dirty deeds, and she just forgets
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. Like I've seen worse. Ah, this is
Yeah, the
nothing.
military is like, we'll make you do worse things than that. It's fine. But yes. So let us know if you've seen Doctor Death season 1 in the comments. If you liked it, disliked it, and if you plan to watch season 2 of Doctor Death on Peacock. And please subscribe and like to Saturday Night Popcorn on YouTube, where you can see more TV dinner episodes like this one.